Welcome to this brief overview of Connect from Total Mobile. This video isn't going to provide a detailed demonstration of the software. It's just intended to give you an overview of the scope of the solution so that you can understand what Connect is and what it might be able to offer your organisation. The software was written from the ground up as a software as a service solution, so it's 100% web-based. All of the configuration is achieved directly through the standard user interface. The system is delivered off of an enterprise scale hosting platform built on Microsoft's Azure data centers. It's continually upgraded based on customer input and feedback and delivered on an all-inclusive subscription. The business model is based on all customers being able to take advantage of all new functionality as it becomes available, which fuels the development and progression of the software. The software is simultaneously capable of being deployed extremely rapidly. We have customers who've gone live with the software in as little as 4 or 5 weeks after starting their projects, but as you'll see from this overview, has an extremely comprehensive functional scope and is completely configurable, so is capable of supporting even the most complex business requirements. The software is designed around user dashboards. These are role-based. They're not separate reporting databases. This is the live software, so all the databases, all the dashboards link straight into the live software. This is a reasonably conventional example, so performance indicators driving off of the live data. This can be configured however you want it. If you want to drill down on any of the data, you can get time trend analysis, but really fairly straightforward performance data which you can build and share with any of your stakeholders. The software is really designed around a principle that organizations should move away from that conventional backward-looking view of the world and adopt a more forward-looking view in real time. So rather than have a performance indicator that says our void turnaround time is this, or the number of projects, a number of orders that we completed on time was this, we should have a dashboard that says there's action required on some purchase orders for materials, and if we don't action these, then that might cause an order to be late. So in other words, prompts based on exception conditions that indicate there might be a problem before we fail the service. So if we can have the organization focused around these live dashboards, then the performance indicators will take care of themselves. So the idea of what we're looking at the moment is what each user would see as their log-on screen. So every user has a personally tailored board that indicates to them anything they're supposed to keep an eye on. Anything that's red means they've got something to do, and if they don't deal with it, the idea is that it goes red on their manager's board. The idea with the dashboards here is that I've got a job that I need to check. The idea I was drill into this, I would check it. We won't do this here, but I would check the information. At some point I would say that I've checked it and that's fine, and that job has now been checked and is okay, and then when I go back to the dashboard, that's cleared down and gone to green. So the idea with any dashboard here is that it's red if you need to do something, and if you click on it, you action it, and that's how you run the business. This example down here is some randomly sampled calls for a satisfaction survey. So we've completed a job, the job's been randomly sampled, we would drill in, we would complete the work. So that's the idea of how the dashboards work. The software has been designed to try and drive commercially accurate data. So this is an example from one of our customers of the sort of scope of works that are covered by a single implementation, a single solution. So everything from responsive work to adaptations, planned work like kitchen and bathroom replacements, facilities, and even grounds maintenance. And the idea is that if I'm looking at this screen and I can see that this is the margin that we're making over this time period on that job, that data is completely accurate and can be relied upon. The software includes a comprehensive dynamic scheduling system. The diary here is of a completed day, so this is showing me that we've been travelling, we've completed a job, this is the outcome of the job, we've travelled some more, we've got more jobs, and it includes all of the unavailable time. The key thing here is that there's no gaps in the day, so every second of the day is accounted for, and what that means is that we can then start to drive timesheet data and analysis of performance and how people are spending their time. This particular job down here has a map pin on it, which is telling us that we believe there's a GPS mismatch, and that is because at the point where the engineer or operative clicked that they'd finished the work, they were a long way away from where the job is. They were over here, which is removed from where the property is. Working in conjunction with the dynamic scheduling system, there is an extremely comprehensive appointment booking solution. So this is the actual booking screen. So this would sometimes be initiated from a customer's CRM system or a client housing management system maybe. So this is all designed to be iframe embedded into other systems, but can equally be used standalone. This screen is telling us that on Tuesday we've actually got somebody with the right skills who is at the same location, so 0 minutes of travel impact. If we book that on Tuesday, more travel impact if we're here. So if we booked it on Thursday in the morning, we're further away, but if we book it in the afternoon, then we're quite near. So the idea is to kind of demand manage and shape the work into the business. This can be configured so that instead of this view, the system could just present either the best 1, 2, 3 configurable views, so it can just present your best n slots, or you could configure the system to find when you are nearest and then only display slots where you are within n% of that time. So it's up to you how you choose to drive this off the contact center. But the idea is to make appointment booking really quick, really easy, fully capable of supporting 2 to attend, multiple resource bookings and appointments, and fully embedded with the messaging. So as we book the appointment, then in this case the customer's going to receive text and email from which they could then rearrange the appointment or just have the details confirmed. And this includes messages to remind, so you can do reminders the day before, on the day of, and when somebody is actually en route to the property. The system has a very strong compliance pedigree, so in this case this is a high-level dashboard just telling me that I've got a couple of issues. I've got an issue around a gas boiler, so I can drill in. This is the boiler at this location. So I click in. So this is telling me that I've got a boiler, it went out of compliance on the 14th of January. I've got all the information about when it was last checked. I can click and see, so this is every job that's ever been carried out on this boiler. If I look at a particular job, I can then see who went, when they went, what they did, the materials they used, photos that they took, and if I want to, I can then see the entire work history on this boiler. So this is telling me everything that's ever happened on this boiler, all of the materials that we've ever used on this boiler. At the same time, we have a very strong compliance in terms of, so this is a block where we carry out fire safety checks, Legionella flush. So in terms of the fire safety check, on the compliance, then I last did a check on the 22nd of December. It's compliant until the end of January. I've got a cyclical program of work here, so this could just say I'm going to go every month and do the same thing, but in this case it says, okay, I carry out a monthly check, but every 6 months, so in this example on May, there's a 6 monthly check. So the 6 monthly check is slightly different to the monthly check, but it creates the work and just defines a slightly different business process for this check than it does for the other monthly checks. But the system does this in a completely automated way. So the system can generate the cyclical work, automatically schedule it, release it, and then as the work is done, that can push back and update the compliance data on the asset. So we end up with a closed loop. Connect includes a comprehensive mobile working solution, and it's fully integrated into Total Mobile's Mobilize platform. This is a list of jobs that are currently on my device. In this case, these are slightly overdue, 1 day, 2 days overdue. The job at the bottom isn't actually due to be completed by 2 days, so I could have forward dispatched it, or we could be dripping these out live, one at a time. The idea with the mobile app is that it is extremely easy for the end user. So in this case, it's really a two-screen solution. We have a list of jobs that we need to do, and when we click on a job, we basically get the business process that we need to follow. So the business process is unique to each job. It's defined off of templates in the back end, and these can evolve as the job progresses. But in this case, this example is a simple reactive repair. So the first thing that I have to do is indicate that I'm on my way. I can't do anything else because this is the only logical process. So I'm going to say that I'm starting traveling. This is the last time I recorded anything on my timesheet, so I have to record from here. So I've now indicated that I've started traveling. Once I've done that, then logically the only thing that I can do at some point is say I've arrived. So I'm going to say I've arrived. Obviously in this example I've done that very quickly. So I'm now saying I've arrived. We might want the user to access some information about the property before entering. So this is just whatever information. This might be held in Connect. This might be passed through from an external system. What's nice about this is we've got timestamped evidence that the user recorded this. So not only is it built into the process, but every step on here is individually audited on something that is more complex. So we talked earlier about kitchen programs. So on a kitchen program, maybe these steps each have their own target dates. So the steps might not all be to do with an individual visit. I can confirm that I've gained access on site. Have you been able to gain access? Yes, no. I'm not going to say no. If I say no, the system can add a job code onto the order because we might recharge our client if we're unable to get access. It can send a text message to the customer. It could add a new step to the job, so it might be that we then want to add another process step for somebody to follow up on. And it can close down the visit on the phone and set a specific visit result. I'm going to say yes in this case so that we can carry on. So now that I've gained access, other steps become available to me. So I can complete a risk assessment. This is just a form, so you design the forms yourself. I can access asbestos information about the property. This step in this case would only appear if there was any asbestos data at the property. I can take before and after work photos. We'll cover all this off in a detailed run through of the mobile app, but in this case just to see what's happening. This step here is interesting. This step is nothing to do with the repair we've been sent out to do. It's been added into the job because at this property, the last date that we had an update on the condition of the kitchen is older than the SLA we have for that. So the idea here is to crowdsource condition checks. So I'm going out to the property, the system checks. We haven't had a recent update on what the condition of the kitchen is, so it adds a process step into this job to ask the operative to take some photos, and that then flags the asset for somebody else to review. So very, very simple process where it just inserts in. Again, we don't have to explain or train the operative on how to react to this. The job is just to follow the steps on the phone. That step is going to open a form that says, please take a photo of the kitchen, and so on and so on. So the idea here is that it's all extremely straightforward, very, very powerful, because by defining a process in the back office, every job could look completely different. This also means that you can deploy Connect across a wide range of different business requirements, and the mobile app will look completely tailored to each environment. Moreover, if I have an individual mobile user who moves between different types of work, then the mobile app literally reconfigures itself on a job-by-job basis. So I could be sent to do a compliance check and then to carry out a repair and then to do a neighbourhood check, in which case it would look like I've got three completely different mobile applications. On the basis of the data coming back from the mobile solution and feeding into the diaries and the scheduling system, we can then get detailed analysis of all the time and timesheet information and what percentage of time we're spending on visits and travelling. If I want to drill down to this, then I can get a day-by-day breakdown of how everybody spent this time. And if I click into a day, this is then the detailed timesheet for that individual person. So if we then, if this data was then accurate, if we had confidence that our processes were good enough and that the way we were managing this was good, this data can then be exported directly out into an HR or payroll system without the need for a separate timesheet process. So driving admin out of the business. As well as the dynamic scheduling process and the responsive diaries, the system also has a comprehensive planning board. So these are a series of jobs, categories of work that are scheduled, not scheduled. The green things are allocated, the red things are not allocated. And if I need to allocate the plumbing and I want to do it manually, I can just come along and drag that up, book that into that diary. And then that work basically gets booked into that diary and my planning board adjusts. And then there's a widget on a dashboard that is telling me whether I've got any jobs where any of the work has not been allocated. So the planning board is a very powerful way, and I haven't got any data in here, but I can look at this on a 10-day, 30-day basis if I want to. So it's up to me how I look at my planning board depending on the type of work I'm looking at. A related view here, this is called a planning view. So this is a very simple example of what might be a kitchen or bathroom replacement program. In this case, my business process is that we send a letter X days before we start the program. We book an appointment to go and discuss with the resident what choices they want. We get the agreement signed. Then we can agree a work start date. This is dependent on this step having been completed. And this screen is just telling us where all of the steps were completed and if any of them are overdue. So we end up with detailed information, and if I want to, I can just come in very simply and say that that's been closed, and that will then update the step and record the date that that happened. Connect has a very powerful van stock and stores management solution, so capable of running a comprehensive back-end stores process or integrating directly with the main material merchants. Integrates with Travis Perkins, Jewson and Grafton out of the box, but can easily be integrated into any other supplier who can provide an electronic interface. This screen is giving us some analysis of fast and slow moving items. So the system is looking for ordered items so that are not on the van that are being ordered regularly. This widget here is looking for anything that is on the van that's not being used. And I can drill down into this and I can see, so this wire roll on this van is being ordered very regularly, so this may be an issue, it may not be an issue, and as a supervisor I could then review that and say, okay, I may either going to action it or I've made a decision, I don't want the system to remind me about that again for a period of time. So that's the idea with this. This is a detailed spend by operative, so this is telling me how much material has been spent for my team. I'm looking at a view that's just got my team on it for a period of time, and this is period by period spend. And the system has a detailed cycle count. Again, I haven't got any data because it's a demonstration system, but the idea is that this operative, this is the history of their cycle counts, whether they're getting them right or wrong, and then I can deal with that, which drives accuracy off of the van. Last but not least, Connect has a very powerful subcontract portal. We have a number of different ways of managing subcontractors. So this is very simple. This work here has been released to this subcontractor. They can see the detail of the work that they've been given. If they want to create variations, then they can create variation requests. They can, we can either share documents and photos or they can share them back. And once complete, then the system can fully take care of the invoicing. So either the supplier can upload their invoice or the software can self-bill. So if you're working with smaller subcontractors locally, Connect can generate their invoice for them, attach it to the job on the portal for them, and match that against the order and fire it off to your finance system so that there's no admin involved. So that covers off the core areas of the solution. I hope you found that useful, and as I said earlier, there are separate videos for each of these areas.